This Saturday morning action cartoon review comes from Memento Mori. Thank you for the request. It seems this series is very polarizing. Some people, especially cartoon reviewers, seem to be firmly in the "this is a stain upon the Looney Tunes name," while others think it's a perfectly fine adaptation and an action comedy show. I remembered way back in 2005 when this show was being promoted on Kids WB, and I did remember watching the show for a while, but never really cared to finish the entire series. Where do I stand on the series after watching it over a decade later? Well, that's for later. Let's go over the plot because wow, that is the sum of the plot. Why are the Looney Tunes descendants the only ones who got powers from the meteor crash? Why did they take it upon themselves to fight crime when there was no singular or overall threat at that time? I won't really harp on how insane the concept is. Well, it's technically the Looney Tunes show, and complaining about the crazy plots with the Looney Tunes is utterly pointless. What does matter is the execution. Have they actually taken this plot and actually made something decent out of it? Let's go over the characters. Our leader is obviously the descendant of Bugs Bunny, Ace Bunny. He's pretty much the typical action show team leader with a bit of more slant on wit and jokes, but I never really felt any of his jokes worked, especially when they tried to shoehorn the Bugs catchphrase 3 times. This character's personality highlights a problem with the entire series that I'll discuss later. Ace Bunny's abilities are laser eye beams and optical enhancements. Lexi Bunny is the second in command, and token 92-ish girl in the group. She's also the descendant of Lola Bunny, which explains why she's not funny. Lexi Bunny mostly talks about clothes and looking fat, though she does seem to be an entirely different person when she's in combat mode, showing effective strategies and focus that earn her the title of the second in command. I really shouldn't be calling her a token girl, both for the fact that she really hasn't shown too much of those tropes yet, outside of the fashion stuff, weight issues, and the fact that her color is, you guessed it, pink, and because, well, Looney Tunes itself is a sausage fest. In fact, Lola, her ancestor, was created purely to help even up the demographics a bit, even though Looney Tunes never seemed to have a big problem in that area. I guess Space Jam thought it did. Her powers include Supersonic and Brain Blast, which are essentially the same as Ace Bunny's beams, just being emitted from her ears and being psychic energy. Probably the most similar in their Looney Tunes descendant is Danger Duck, descendant of Daffy Duck. I say loosely because while he does retain quite a bit of Daffy Duck's personality and nearly the same exact character design, his jokes just don't work very well. They're probably the best out of the cast, but that's not saying much. Danger Duck has the ability to Quantum Quack, which is basically just teleportation, and create power orbs, which are kind of like Easter eggs. They're orbs filled with something like explosives and whatnot that get released upon breaking. Slam Tasmanian is the descendant of Tasmanian Devil, is also very loyal to his ancestor. Not that it's hard to do so considering that Taz's character traits were being crazy and incoherent. His powers include Super Strength and Tornado Maximizer, which is basically Taz's trademark spinning twister, just at a much higher rate of speed, and even including fire, and thunder mode, which allows him to shoot off hurricanes made of lightning from his fist. Next up we get is Techie Coyote, descendant of Wile E. Coyote, and his name suggests that he is techie. He is consistently making gadgets and vehicles for the group, and as the tech guy, which is super intelligent, he's obviously the most useful member of the team, who gets the most to do yet doesn't get enough recognition. Something I should mention, he talks unlike his ancestor who spoke in a sign language, and spoke on rare occasions. Tech talks all the time, and even prattles on when he gets into the nerd mode. I don't have anything against him talking, his voice is fantastic actually, and I definitely didn't want him to be the silent tech support guy anyways. Yes, I'm looking at you, Zorro Generation Z, but it's something worth noting. His powers include incredible super intelligence, magnetiness, and molar regeneration. Yes, you heard that right. Molar regeneration, super healing. Techie Coyote is essentially Wolverine. In fact, according to Wiki, it's a recurring joke for Tech to blow himself into bits and just regenerate himself. I'm sorry, but why is he not hands down the leader? He's the smartest, he has great leadership capabilities, he keeps cool under pressure, he makes gadget after gadget for helping them fight bad guys. He's by far the most useful. And oh yeah, he's essentially immortal. Why do the bunnies with laser beams get to be first and second in command? Equal opportunity my ass. And finally, we get to Rev Runner, descendant of Roadrunner. And he is so annoying. You know how they made it so that Tech spoke just fine even though Wily basically mute? Well, they did the same to Rev, only he has a quirk. He has a quirk and he talks really quickly because, well, I think you can figure it out. It is insanely irritating to listen to him, and the joke gets old after every millisecond. I am very aware he's voiced by WB legend Rob Paulsen, and with all due respect to Mr. Paulsen, his direction of choice is dumb. He obviously has super speed, but he also has super intellect, flight, and some degree of clairvoyance, and is probably the weirdest power of the group. And the ability to track down and pinpoint the location of other living organisms like a GPS. While that's not weird in its own right, he also has the ability to transfer what he sees into a hologram. So to clear things up, the smartest and most useful characters, the one with the most powers and the one who is arguably the most powerful, are not as important as Ace and Lexi Bunny. Am I sensing a bunny bias here? So we have one more character in the mysterious Zadavia, who contacts them by hologram like Zordon. Unlike everything else, we are given no freaking idea who she is, where she came from, or why she's leading this team. We just kind of have to accept that she does. She's serious and mostly kind, but seems to dislike danger. Now for something I hinted at earlier with Ace's description, which is the tone of this series. It's really a mixture of action, drama, and of course comedy. The problem is that the Looney Tunes are not really geared for drama/seriousness. They can pull off action, look at Duck Dodgers, but the post-apocalyptic setting, the seemingly very serious threats to the global population, all of that makes it so that the characters can't be all that goofy or funny. In essence, they can't be the Looney Tunes, which might be why they're technically not. Sort of like your average run-of-the-mile action team cartoon from the 90s. Altogether, you have a subpar action superhero show mixed with diet Looney Tunes, with a serious twist and a hint of Splenda. Throughout the whole episode, I was wondering why these characters needed to be the Looney Tunes' descendants. Really, you could have just marketed a bunch of anthropomorphized animals with superpowers and it would be the same thing. You might get in trouble with character designs, copyright infringement with Danger Duck and maybe Slam, but everyone else would be okay, and I doubt anyone would say it's the Looney Tunes in any way. The thing is, that really was this series' only hook, was an action superhero team, as was the popular thing back then. And today, with the Looney Tunes, kind of, it doesn't work very well for me. Outside of being a little too crazy without the humor being strong enough to back it up, the animation is also pretty nice and fluid with only a few iffy spots here and there. I'm not a big fan of multi-screen views of single shots. Seems a bit cheesy, especially for the time. The voices are good, though I cannot hear Jason Marsden's regular voice when he's playing Danger Duck on several occasions. Half the time, he's doing a fairly loyal Daffy Duck impression, and the other he's just doing a completely normal voice. The music is alright, though mostly forgettable. For my final verdict, in my eyes, this show is definitely not bad. There were moments here and there when I was groaning at the screen or feeling the need to pause because of something stupid. It's just a subpar action superhero cartoon with the Looney Tunes brand painted all over it. There are only 26 episodes, so this might be up for cartoon step by step. It's definitely not a childhood-ruining nightmare some people make it out to be, but it's definitely not a series you need to go out of your way to watch. The Loonatics Unleashed gets a 6.6 out of 10. This is Red Wolf signing out, and I'll see you next time. Peace.